Hi all, Adi here from Hans & Johns. Thank you so much as always for clicking on the video. Today I'm in deepest, darkest Dorset and I'm at a place called Bothenhampton, and this is the old Trinity Church. It's no longer used for regular service and it's looked after by the church's Conservation Trust. So let's go in and have an explore. Just outside Bridport in Dorset, in the quiet village of Bothenhampton, stands a small and very atmospheric historic building, the Old Trinity Church, and at first glance it doesn't look particularly grand. In fact, what we see today is only part of what used to be a much larger medieval church. But this small structure still holds centuries of history and tells the story of the village that grew up around it. Inside the church there are still several historic features. Now, one of the most important is this 13th century font, which would have been used to baptise generations of villagers, and although parts of it were restored in the 20th century, the bowl itself dates back to the medieval period. The church itself was built from forest marble, which is a type of local limestone found in the Bridport area, and in medieval times builders typically used whatever materials were available nearby, so you find many Dorset churches were constructed using local stone like this. For hundreds of years, Holy Trinity served as the parish church for the village, and the churchyard that surrounds the building slowly filled with graves as generations of villagers were buried here. But unfortunately, by the 19th century, the medieval church had begun to fall into serious disrepair. But rather than restore the old building, the decision was made to build a completely new parish church elsewhere in the village. In 1887, a new church was designed and it's in an arts and crafts style, but the new church was eventually consecrated in 1890 and it replaced the medieval church as the main place of worship for the village. The reredos that still remains, with pediment urn, incorporates the creed, commandments and the Lord's Prayer, all the lettering of which was carefully restored in 1974, and the floor is paved with square slabs of grey slate and white marble. And this beautiful chair, there was no history on that, so I can't give you any more information on that, I'm afraid. And this beautiful Bible, sadly it's not in the greatest of condition, but it was nice that we were able to have a look at it, and it's got some beautiful illustrations inside. Around the same time that the new church was built, the old church was demolished, leaving only the chancel and the tower that we see today. But rather than abandoning the building entirely, the remaining structure was used as a mortuary chapel. And a mortuary chapel is where coffins could rest before burials in the churchyard. So this has meant that the old church continued to play a role in the village's life, particularly during funerals and burials. However, by the late 20th century, the building again faced an uncertain future. In 1971, Holy Trinity Old Church was officially declared redundant, meaning it was no longer required for regular Church of England services. But fortunately, the church was taken into the care of what is now the Church's Conservation Trust, which is a charity that protects historic churches that are no longer used for parish churches. So the responsibility for the church was transferred over to them in 1972, and today the surviving church is quite small, consisting mainly of a 3-bay chancel which measures about 21 foot long and 10 foot wide, along with the 15th century tower. There's not a huge amount in here to show you, but we'll head out into the graveyard because there is a historic churchyard. And as we exit, please note that the doorway retains a very simple plank door, Very simple, quite fitting for such a small little church. And surrounding the church is the historic churchyard, where graves from many different periods can be seen, and we'll walk around and have a look at some of those. The tower still shows typical medieval features such as buttresses, a parapet, and you can even see some gargoyles. And surrounding the church, the historic graveyard has amongst the 2 Commonwealth War Graves which commemorate local soldiers who died during the World Wars. And I'm just heading over to have a look at what would have been the old window. The churchyard is still used today for the interment of ashes, so it means that the site continues to serve the community in a quiet but meaningful way. For more than 6 centuries, this place has been connected to the lives of the people who lived here, from medieval villagers to modern visitors. The churchyard has some lovely chest tombs of the 18th and 19th centuries, and this headstone has a beautiful willow motif at the top, which was very popular apparently during the 19th century, but unfortunately we can't read it. And I thought this was quite an unusual shape as well. And there are several other headstones leaning up against the wall, so no doubt they're no longer in their original position. There's a few headstones with that weeping willow motif, very characteristic of the era, and one of them that stands by the gate to the churchyard, I've actually found the inscription for it. It's going to be the one I show you after this, and it says it's Thomas Roots Jarvis, and he was drowned by the stranding of the ship Desert Flower of Liverpool on the long bank off Wexford in Ireland on the 4th of March 1864. No sunk, no human power his life could save, no hand could snatch him from his watery grave. A grave indeed he little thought to find when England and his friends he left behind. Places like this are so incredibly important. They connect us to everyday history, to the lives of ordinary people who lived, worked, worshipped and were buried in this beautiful small Dorset village. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Lovely little place, wasn't it? Full of character. But the smaller and the more rural they are, I always feel they've got even more character. If you would like to help the channel a little bit more, you can hit the Buy Me a Coffee link down below, and then that helps me because I like to give a donation to every single place that I visit, because it's really important that we help with their upkeep. And if you want to donate to this church or any of the other churches that I visit directly, if there is a link, I'll pop it in the description. And this one is looked after by the church's Conservation Trust, who do some fabulous work, and I'll pop their link down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. It might be a hunt, it might be a jaunt, who knows. Bye for now.